I'm Jim Nicholas. I'm the CEO of Uniphy. I've been running this company since 2019. It's a smart surfaces enabler company, and I'll go on to describe exactly what we do and why it's relevant to us here. Okay, so the focus of this presentation, together with the technical talk later on today, will be about is it possible to have HMIs that are both intuitive and safe, as well as addressing other things that are more aesthetic, and as well as addressing the economic aspect as well. So, right. So, the point of reference is the touchscreens on your mobile phones and tablets. We just use the term smart surface for those of you who are uninitiated. And basically, they become child's play. Okay? And although a lot of people think and although a lot of people think that they're completely ubiquitous, they actually are not. Smart surfaces are not ubiquitous. If you just look around this environment, or you think about your living room or anywhere else, just about any product that you interact with has an opportunity to provide intelligent interaction and feedback, okay? And part of that would involve actually having the smart surface, instead of being planar, flat, conform to the shape of the product, in whole or in part. From our point of view, there are at least 3 reasons why there isn't that ubiquity. And just to give you a sense of what I'm talking about, you're in a car, you see all these sculptured surfaces in the car. Any part of those surfaces could actually be intelligent as well as aesthetic, okay? But there are probably 3 reasons why you don't see the pervasion of smart surfaces within vehicles, in furniture, in home appliances, etc. And that is restrictions on design freedom, the inability to make it possible to combine a wide range of HMI features that together bring about a more intuitive and more personalized interaction. And finally, the economic underpinnings just don't exist. But luckily, there's Uniphy, and we can make that happen. The important thing about our ability to make this happen is it can only really happen if we are part of a community, because what we're providing is a platform that allows us to coexist with other experts in a variety of different sensor technologies. Our platform actually becomes a host on which you can put haptics, you can put over-the-air gestures, you can have Alexa or whatever you want, okay? But the financial underpinnings to make this possible, we think is very, very difficult to beat, because the underpinnings are just plastics and glass. And why is all this stuff relevant, for us? Well, it really comes down to the prevailing challenges that people are faced with in automotive. This is deliberately relatively retro, okay? And this is, if you like, more the flavor of things, even though that's being superseded. And the bottom line is that there's a strong industry shift to having capacitive touch-related touch surfaces, okay? There are reasons why it makes sense. Display manufacturers will benefit from having much more sales in terms of volumes. You will actually end up in a place where, as far as the ability to have stock of parts for future replacements, it's much cheaper, the surfaces are much cleaner, and there is this notion that what you actually end up with is a cleaner design, okay? But actually, if you look at what's really going on, especially with the limitations in design freedom, you just end up with large swathes of flattened surfaces or curved surfaces of fixed curvature. And there's another problem as well, which is that it's not particularly intuitive, as is indicated by some of the reports that have been produced talking about causes of distraction. This is another piece of information which gives a sense of, the impact on infotainment in people's ability to, if you like, concentrate on, driving their vehicles. And so this table is just a simple one where it shows that, a number of cars were reviewed in 2017. No car demonstrated low level of distraction, right? And all of them were either moderate, high, or very high. There's a more recent report done by a Swedish RAG, which has basically also tried to look at this from the point of view of the relationship between how long it takes to do certain operations and the amount of distance you travel in your car, okay? So the best case results, and those of you who are sort of spend your time on LinkedIn, you'll see this is going all over the place and lots of people are writing stuff about it and giving their feedback. The best performer is a 2005 Volvo V70, and the distance associated with completing some actions is about 300 meters, and this is traveling at a speed of about 70 miles an hour, okay? And then all these other vehicles that all have various incarnations of touchscreens are worse in relative terms. Now, some of this can be explained purely by the way in which the menus in touchscreens are used. There are a variety of other factors, but the bottom line is that there's probably an opportunity to provide smart surfaces that take advantage of the best aspects of having seamless surfaces, as well as sculptured surfaces, as well as surfaces that have integrated into them three-dimensional objects. Because people, if they're interacting with stuff, need to feel stuff, okay? And it's really difficult to interact with a surface which is just flat, okay? Now, later on I'll talk about why, we make a difference even in that regard. But this is just to give you a sense of the kind of thing that our technology can enable. So we can have the sculpture in 2 and 3 dimensions. We can have areas where it is your conventional touch screens. We can have extruded structures like dials and buttons, indented structures. We can have all sorts of changes in form and grooves on the surface. The technology is inherently finger pressure sensitive, which means that if you augment that with haptic feedback, you can glide your fingers along the surface. Nothing will trigger until your finger reaches a certain point. You can actually feel the sensation on the surface because you've actually created grooves or whatever structures on that surface. So you don't need to take your eyes away from the straight ahead. You can feel your way along. At the point at which you actually reach a point where you want to actually trigger an operation, you press, you get the haptic feedback. And when I talk about the extent to which of finger pressure sensitivity, typically for capacitive touch screens, you're talking about, say, a dynamic range of about 6 dB. For those techies amongst us, in the context of this technology, it's about 50, 60 dBs. It is super sensitive, but it's all software programmable, okay? So I'm only highlighting this to say that there's activities going on within AESIN to pull together a community of people who are focused on user experience. We believe that the car is a great place to start in terms of solving some of those issues, because it's really needed to have a safer, driving experience and a more intuitive driving experience. And in showcasing Uniphy, the vested interest is, I love to promote us, that's really good, but it's an example of the fact that there are many technologies that are being developed in this country that, together with the expertise we have in arts, design, psychology, and a variety of other things, if we can actually pull all that together, we could end up by being, you know, a significant world leader in terms of making it possible to have differentiated, highly differentiated products, including cars, through user experience. That's the end of this pitch. Okay? Thank you.